What's going on, everybody? Today I'm going to be talking about the Second Amendment and the division within. I'm getting real sick of it, and let me know if you are too in the comment section below. If you are sick of this constant debate of the Second Amendment constantly being attacked, not by oppositions, but by ourselves. I can't tell you how many times I've read comments in anybody's comment section or my own where it's somebody who is claiming the other side is so stupid to that argument or to that idea that it gives the enemies an occasion to shoot both of us while we're trying to fight each other. Pun intended. We will shoot ourselves in the foot as well as each other. If you have 6, 7 different groups of Second Amendment supporters in their own boat floating on the water, we will all shoot holes in each other's boat as well as our own to see which one sinks fastest and who's the last one standing. We'll see if hunters survive it, Second Amendment supporters survive it, military survives it, law enforcement, gun enthusiasts, sport shooters like USPCA, IDPA, and just your overall crazy gun nut is what some people want to call us. Everybody has something to say about the Second Amendment, and that's fine. We need dialogue. You do not want people to tell you this is the only way it is, and that's it. I'm a firearms instructor, and I can tell you right now, just like Robert Cabal, I think his name is Robert Cabal. He is he's on YouTube. He's a dog trainer, and he said it best talking to another friend of his. The only thing two dog handlers or dog trainers can agree on is that the third one is wrong. That is very, very similar to firearms instructors. The only two things, or the only thing that two firearms instructors can agree on is that the third guy is wrong. And as soon as that guy leaves and swaps out, now he's wrong and those two are right. There's always going to be something somewhere that somebody does better. There's no wrong way to eat a racist unless you choke on it. I heard that just last week from a friend of mine who's out on the range right now teaching rifle and pistol combat skills. And it's true. When you think about it, if you can hold the pistol, however, if you hold the pistol like this and you clap your hands or you clamshell it or you even teacup it, for crying out loud, it doesn't matter.
Nope.
Did you hit the target and did you hit it in the time frame that you needed to hit it in? If the answer is yes, hats off to you. Keep doing what you're doing. Now, there are times where you might want to work on your grip. Now, if you hit the target and you hit it in the time frame, that's great. But can you do follow-up shots? Can you do multiple shots like that? Maybe that's where your grip needs to change. But I will never say you suck at shooting. You may suck at shooting fast. You may suck at shooting multiple targets, but you don't suck at shooting. And that's the point. And I wouldn't just say you suck, even though people use that term of endearment. I would say you don't do it well or well enough. You can hit, you can aim, you can shoot, but you can't do it well enough for this this purpose or this sequence of fire, this course of fire, whatever. A house divided against itself will not stand. That's in the Bible. And a lot of people will always run to the Bible whenever they want to go ahead and browbeat somebody or take the Bible and beat somebody over the head with it. A house divided against itself shall not stand. That is true. The Second Amendment is divided in more than two parts. It is divided, like I said, sport shooting, defensive shooters, police, law enforcement, hunters. There are more categories to shooting, but there are people in every branch of the Second Amendment, if we have branches, and we don't all agree.
Nope.
There are some people, there are so many different firearms out there that some people will say, I'm a bolt guy all day long. I'm a gas guy all day long. I'm a piston guy all day long. I'm a blowback guy all day long. I'm lever action. I'm a revolver guy. I'm a pump action. Whatever it is, who cares? If that's what fits you, just like your minivan, your truck, your car, your motorcycle, your method of transportation, your freaking bicycle, however you get from A to B is between you and that destination. That's your choice. And I applaud you for taking that choice. Why can't we as Second Amendment supporters do the same thing and just say, that does not work for me, but I'm glad that it works for you? Why can't we just do that? Because when we don't, and we're too busy bickering and throwing each other under the bus, the liberals, and I am going to say liberals and Democrats, although some of them have guns, they're definitely protected by them, even if they don't like them, they like to point out our flaws that we give them an occasion to essentially blaspheme. We will point out the stupidest things wrong with a certain topic and tell somebody why it's ineffective or why it's immoral, and they have no clue. And then they will listen to it and parrot what they think you said and use it to try and force legislation down our throat. A lot of people will sit there and say SBRs versus AR pistols, or just, some sort of pistol. I'm going to use AR pistol specifically because that is the topic at hand. There are more AR-15 type rifles than any other type of rifle when it comes to semi-automatic. So I'll use that, and I have a lot of them. But a lot of people will say, if you get, and they'll talk crap and say the ATF should be abolished, and I agree. They'll say, who cares what the ATF says? And I agree. But those same people will be a complete coward. They will say, if you go and get a tax stamp, a $200 tax stamp, you are only funding the ATF and their tyranny. At the same time, they will walk around with a pistol brace on their gun because they don't want to violate the ATF's law. If you're such a fucking big gun nut or a gung-ho, no one's going to tell me what to do, then go ahead and just put a stock on there and see what happens. See what happens. You can sit here and say the ATF needs to be abolished. The NFA needs to be abolished. And we can all have those conversations, but until it is, those laws unfortunately do stand. And you can try and hold it up in court that I willingly broke the law because of XYZ. And there are case studies after case studies of all kinds of things happening like that where you can take it to court. And you may actually win a case. Even though you violated a law at the time, you may win the court case overall because your spirit or the spirit of the law was written wrong or you didn't do it intentionally. I get all that. But I'm telling you guys right now, do not sit here and call somebody a coward for buying a tax stamp for an SBR while you walk around with an AR pistol brace for the same reason as to not violate a law. They just decided, I don't mind. Yeah, it seems like they just complied. But at the same token, that's where we're at in our country right now. A lot of you guys who are Second Amendment supporters, unless you are probably in the military, most of you have never left the country. That's a fact. You can just Google those stats. I don't even need to prove that. I'm not even going to link it anywhere. Most people have not left the country. I've been all over this world, and I can tell you right now, SBR or AR-15 pistol is better than the option most countries I've been to have, which is nothing. They can't shoot a damn thing. Nope. They look at us. I got asked that question in Italy. How come Americans have American flags everywhere? And I was like, what are you talking about? I have it literally tattooed in the middle of my chest. And they said, you guys really love your flag. And I said, yes, we do. It stands for something. And of course, they said the 50 stars. I was like, those are the 50 states. We are supposed to be united as a country, and we're not. Nope. We are supposed to be united as a Second Amendment group, and we're not. Nope. Just like anybody else who claims Christianity. You can have 20 people claim to be Christians, and they all believe in one thing, that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. And some of them don't even believe that. We all have a book that we call the Bible that we continue to read. And then there's over 100, but there's going to be 20 different versions of that Bible. That is how cults get their base. When someone can say, I'm a Christian. Oh yeah, me too. And you find out you don't believe anything the same. Nope. That's no different than people who support the Second Amendment. All these tough gun owners out here who will say, you're a gun owner, I'm a gun owner. We must be the same type of gun owner. No. That pisses me off to no end, because I like something specific does not mean I hate what you have. I'm saying what you have does not work for me. I'm not a hunter. I have hunted, but I would not classify myself as a hunter. It is not something I do for fun. I did it a couple of times. Now, I've killed stuff before and eaten it, but I would not say I'm a hunter. And I'm talking about like rabbits. I've shot many rabbits on my property in Virginia and ate them. But I would not say I'm a hunter, but I did everything I could. I used an ethical kill, at least to the best of my ability. I made sure the caliber was accurate to take down the prey item I was actually trying to take out. And all of the things I'm saying, if I told you I was shooting a rabbit with a 308, somebody would be in the comment section instantly telling me how much meat I destroyed, as if I wouldn't have known that. And just going off. But the minute you try and kill a deer with a .22 long rifle, if you place it right, they're going to say that's also unethical. And I understand that to a point. Most people can't shoot. That's just the truth of it. Most people can't do a lot of things. We can all walk, but very few people can actually run. Everybody can walk, not everybody can run. So when it comes to every other discipline, I understand majority of people will suck at it. If you don't do something long enough, you're going to suck at it. You don't need 10,000 hours of shooting to be good at it, or 10,000 rounds to be good at it. You need fundamentals. You can learn how to shoot in a classroom. You practice shooting on the range. But the concept of weapons manipulation, how to clear a stoppage, using dummy rounds, getting good at it, you could do that in a classroom environment. I highly recommend you take a course. If you are a Second Amendment supporter and you are a concealed carry person, I highly recommend you get some training. I don't know how many people will sit here and say, I want to carry a gun just because I can carry a gun. Okay, tough guy, but you can't shoot that gun. So what's the point of carrying it if you can't shoot it? I am for open carry. I will not do it.
Nope.
Outside of the confines of my next job when I become a law enforcement officer. That is the only time I will open carry, and that is obvious. I will be in uniform. I am not representing myself. I am representing an agency. That is when I will open carry. I personally do not like open carry. I don't think it scares me. I think you're just a big target. If I wanted to go out and say, oh man, that guy's got a really nice gun that I want, and he's too stupid to realize that he just exposed his hand, you're walking around with your freaking ace of spades out, and all I got to do is just pop you in the back when you're not looking at Walmart, because I see a lot of people at Walmart here who like to open carry. I don't know if it's just to get a ruse out of people. I don't know if it's like to normalize it. Some people are just not going to get used to it.
We are respectfully requesting that customers no longer openly carry firearms in our stores, wrote McMillan. But one of you asked us, can concealed carriers still bring their guns in the stores? In Georgia, that answer is yes, as long as they're properly licensed.
Some people are just not going to get used to it. It doesn't matter how much you shove it down their throat, they're still not going to like it. Some people don't like seeing law enforcement officers with firearms. So if those people are you're used to seeing with it, and then you have somebody from Hey Boy Corner walking around with a gun in the store, you can't expect them to feel comfortable with it when people are actually shooting up Walmarts and department stores and all these other small shopping malls with firearms. They're not just saying, oh, look at that guy right there exercise his Second Amendment right. Continue with my day, and all you hear is shots ring out 5 minutes later. They're going to start looking at people pretty squirrely.
I also remember him smirking as he raised the gun towards me in the store.
On August 3rd, a lone gunman walked into a Texas Walmart and opened fire. 22 were killed and dozens more injured.
Walking around with those guns, and I don't blame them. I do not blame them one bit. If I see somebody open carrying, I don't think they're just up to no good all the time, but I also am trying to say, what's the intent of this? The reason I conceal carry is for this simple fact that you don't know. You don't know what I'm doing. You don't know how I load or what type of firearm I have. So I think it's very, very important that the Second Amendment community as a whole understands this. So when you try and force something on somebody, you will never get the right answer. When it comes to shooting a pistol, once again, like I just said, conceal carry people. If you can't shoot that thing, you have no business conceal carrying it. That's my opinion. You don't like it, I don't care.
Nope.
You can unsubscribe, you can downvote the video, it's still gonna be on YouTube. But if you can't shoot your pistol accurately within an effective combat distance, if you were to get into a stir, you have no business carrying that thing in the first place. I don't care what right you wanna go ahead and hold on to. You also have the right to do that. Like I said, that's fine. But I will not feel bad one bit if you miss your target and hit somebody else. I will say, punish that person to the fullest extent of the law. That's how I feel about it. And I think the same should apply to me, and even more when I don that uniform. The minute I put that uniform on as a law enforcement officer, not only do I represent the agency, I represent the state, and that's why you can sue a police department for a lot of money, because those people were vetted and trained to do that so they didn't make these mistakes. You are not safe from making mistakes as a citizen. Second Amendment is divided. and constantly divided in the comment section. When it comes to law enforcement and military, they think we are the same, but we're also different. In case you didn't know, civilians, I'm talking to the civilians. I am one of them. Law enforcement officers are 100% civilians. I'm tired of them thinking that they're not. They are. You can get fired tomorrow and be a normie the very next day. You are a civilian. I will also say you protect civilians. You are the only civilian that has the authority to stop people's constitutional rights. They have to sit through case laws and studies in constitutional law in class during the police academy to know when you're actually able to stop somebody's liberty. That is a lot of power. That is a lot of authority. And it's not something that should be taken lightly. If you're on your way home from work or to a store and I stop you and say, you're no longer doing that anymore, now you're going to be detained for one, maybe arrested and go to jail too, over a certain crime, that's a lot of power to put on somebody. And a lot of people are very corrupt with it. And there's a lot of officers who make it really bad for everybody. And when you read the comment sections, once again, you can see just how divided the Second Amendment is. Why do police officers have the same type of rifles that military have? How come this group has this? How come SWAT trains different than patrol? We are different. SWAT is the special operations for police. Just like you have your normal military, you have a special operations group, which is not even a tenth the size of it. I think they're even less than that. I don't know the percentage of special operations to the regular military, but it's super small. And so when people see those guys train, they think, oh, all military people train like that.
Nope.
Not even close. Even the people who are in special operations units, they still don't train to the level that some people think they do. Certain tier 1 units do. You have tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. They all train differently. I was just at a course right now that I actually just got a text on. Right now, I'm getting a text about coming to the range this week. And sure enough, these guys right here are shooting 4 and 5 different handguns for the same course of fire. And we're all on the same branch of military. We're all in the Navy. You have people from EOD, divers, intelligence specialists, and all these other people. And they're all shooting different type of guns. And you say, well, aren't we all in the same military? How come we're all shooting different guns? Why is that one double action? Why is that one striker fired? Why does your holster have a bail? Why does your holster have a freaking detent? Why do you not even have a holster? Like, we're so divided. And it's absolutely ridiculous that we can't actually train each other and support each other and say, hey, look, I see you're doing this. This may be an alternate way or a better way to do it. Instead, we instantly crap on that person and say, you're an idiot because fill in the blank. When it comes to holsters, that's a big one. Why use that holster? Well, there's duty holsters, there's competition holsters, there's concealed carry holsters, there's all kinds of different holsters. And if you don't know why somebody's carrying a specific type of holster, maybe you should stop and ask before you go ahead and just start opening your mouth and your feet come out first. As somebody like me who is going into law enforcement, I need to carry a specific type of holster. I have a gun right here that actually is going to replicate very much 80 to 90% of what I will be carrying when I become certified. Why not train with that right now so I can get better to protect the rest of the citizens in my city, so I'm not going to be thrown a curveball the day I might need to draw my weapon. I hope the day never comes I need to draw a weapon on somebody. But when it happens, if it happens, I will be prepared to do it. I'm already prepared to do it. Not because I want to, but because I know there's evil out there in this world. All criminals don't think alike, just like all gun owners do not think alike. I think I said it in the beginning of this video, but the people who have the most kit are the hardest to train. I don't know how many times I've gone to a range or gone out shooting with friends and they'll invite another friend who's got, like, you know, the Amazon Navy SEAL starter kit on. He bought everything from freaking Wish.com, Alibaba, Temu, Amazon, eBay, every place but where the hell you're supposed to buy it, which is probably the website. And they will have so much crap. They have more crap than I did when I was in the military. And I was issued a bunch of stuff. I was issued a lot of stuff. And they will come with more stuff than that. And these are just regular civilians who have no security law enforcement background. And I'm all for it. I will never say you cannot come and shoot with that and train with that. That's what makes Americans great. We can train however we want. However, those people are very hard to train. They watched 4 hours of T-Rex arms. They've watched Such. They've watched Military Arms Channel. They watched Mr. Guns and Gear. They've watched Demolition Ranch. They've watched a couple Navy SEALs. They've watched Warrior Poet Society. They put them all together on a plate and they said, these are my new tactics and my religion. And you can't tell them anything.
Nope.
And it's really hard because they're going to look at you and say, what are your split times on this? And what is this? And what's that? It's like, you know what? Hey, I guess I'm not the guy for you. You understand? Matter of fact, last week, there were 2 instructors at the same gun range. One of them, unfortunately, got very pissed that another instructor was trying to help him help the other guy. Instead of having enough pride and just saying, hey, you know what? This isn't my expertise. I can shoot, I can train, but maybe you're not understanding it when I'm saying it. Maybe if this guy over here says the same thing, light bulb comes off, insight, aha moment pops into your head, and you say, now I get it. I have no anything against that. If I'm telling you to hold the trigger a certain way and you don't get it, and someone else tells you right after me and you do get it, I'm not offended by it. But I see it happen way too often that people were thinking, this is my job, I'm the one who's supposed to be teaching. Well, you're teaching something wrong probably. Or you suck at it, and maybe you need to consider that too. I am not the best shooter. I can tell you, but I can also tell you this, I am definitely not the worst shooter I've ever come across at all, by any means. I have been designated twice through the military as a firearms instructor. That does not make me God. That does not make me a good shooter. It means I had to get vetted. I'm a small arms marksmanship instructor. I am a expeditionary small arms marksmanship instructor or a combat shooting instructor. That doesn't mean anything. To some people, that means jack shit, and I understand that. I will also say this, I cannot sit here and say, these are my credentials on this piece of paper, therefore you have to listen to me. This means you should take everything I'm saying to heart. My job in the military, I never had to do CQB. I was never had to train on CQB or do it. And I think there are times where we needed it for what my job entailed, but I didn't have to do that. I'm not a ground guy, or I wasn't a ground guy. I was an aviation guy. I was a helicopter guy, more trained in close air support and stuff like that. But in the event we went down and I needed to clear a building to get into it for a safe holdup spot before I get recovered, I had no actual training on that whatsoever. But I was still able to train people how to shoot firearms, not clear rooms. Those are 2 completely different disciplines, and I think a lot of people put the cart before the horse, and you see it in the comment section in the division of the 2A, and they think they need to learn how to clear rooms, but they can't hit a stationary target at all. If you can't shoot a firearm, you have no business clearing a room. If you can't ID threats, if you can't do weapons manipulations, if you can't clear stoppages, I don't want to see you attempt to clear a room, personally. You need to prove yourself to a lot of instructors that you can handle that weapon safely, and then they trust you enough to make decisions. Now that I know that this is the second part of your arm or your hand and you can use it as such, now let's see you do it in a combat environment or scenario. And a lot of people will get on YouTube and say, this is how to hold a rifle. This is how to hold a pistol. And there's nothing wrong with those videos. Once again, no wrong way to eat a Reese's unless you choke on it. So I hold a rifle or a pistol different than you. There are some really high-speed operators out there that say they don't like broomsticks or front grips or bipods or anything, because if they shoot over a car or they're shooting on something, they want their free float rail to be completely free of whatever. And I understand that. However, I hate having a smooth rail like that, because the very thing they're saying, I have 2 hands. I'm not going to just rest one hand on the back of my gun while my rail is dragging all over across the top of a freaking car hood or something like that. I'm gonna have to stabilize it with my other arm or hand anyway. I might as well just be holding on to a freaking broomstick and pinning it down with the fat part of my hand stable on top of the vehicle or structure. That's just me. And I've gone to courses where we've proven that. We've had people run the same course of fire with broomsticks, without broomsticks, with bipods, without bipods. People are so crazy with the whole Second Amendment that we think that everything is gospel. This Navy SEAL said it. This Army Ranger said it. This police officer said it. This SWAT guy said it. This competition shooter said it. This guy who just owns a crap load of guns but doesn't shoot any of them, he said this. Which is better, Aimpoint or EOTech? Red dot, holographic sight. MIL versus MOA. Glock versus SIG. Who cares? If we're really, really about the Second Amendment, we would stop arguing with ourselves and actually educate ourselves. These videos are for educational purposes only, not to bash somebody who does not have the skills I have or who does not have the equipment I have. I have a lot of stuff, and I mean a lot. I have more stuff than most people do. I understand that, and that's not to brag about it. I really do love the Second Amendment. I am willing to train on things that are uncomfortable for me. I've shot so many AR-15s and AR-10s in my lifetime that now I'm starting to say, okay, let me get better at my bolt guns. I've got 5 bolt guns, at least, and I'm not the best at it. Well, let me get good at that. And after I get that down, let me go get a lever action firearm. Let me get a pump action. Let me get a revolver. Let me do something different. And maybe I'll understand how the other group does something. But to sit there and say, if you can still carry a revolver, you're an idiot because you should be able to have 17 plus 1 and another mag. And someone's comfortable carrying a revolver, I'm comfortable with them carrying a revolver. Do not force somebody to do something because it suits you and your tactics or your mindset. That's my point. Either way, I know there is lots to cover when it comes to the division of the Second Amendment, but that is probably the main reason I stopped doing a lot of videos on my channel, because anything that is Second Amendment involved, people will sit here and say, this is stupid, this is dumb, 80% lowers are for this, not that. The only reason to get this is because of that, and they're dead wrong. I do not have 80% lowers for the reason you have an 80% lower. I do not have an AR-15 for the same reason you do. Maybe some reasons, but not the only reason. I have silencers. Some people are against silencers. They say, I want everyone to hear me shooting. And then there's people who say, I don't want anybody to hear me shooting. I want to be able to hunt without ear pro. I want to be able to not let the other person know that his friend just got taken out. And there's other people who want the psychological warfare to know their friend just got taken out. Make it make sense. Either way, leave a comment down in the comment section on something else that you notice is a very big divide within the Second Amendment community and what we can do to fix it. Thanks for watching. Continue watching my videos if you want to. Consider subscribing. This is Darian, and I'm out. Peace.